the related major descending tracts we are going to discuss today. Okay. Right. So we have the cortex here, corticospinal tracts. From the cortex to the spinal cord they are coming out. But there are the nuclei present here in the midbrain, pons and the medulla oblongata. For them, there are from the cortex to the nucleus are coming, and these are called as the corticonuclear tracts. From them, the lower motor neurons are coming out and they are in the form of a cranial nerves. From this, the lower motor neurons are coming out in the form of spinal nerves. Right? Right. Here, for example, I am taking an example, not exactly, but as an example speaking, there are some nuclei present in the midbrain, there are some nuclei present in the pons, there are some nuclei present in the medulla. Okay. See what happens from the cortex. Some fibers are connecting to the midbrain. Such fibers are called as a it's a midbrain, so mesencephalic tracts. The cortico-mesencephalic tracts. Okay, now already you know that some cortex to the pontine nuclei which are coming to the pons, then they are called as the cortico-pontine fibers. Again, from the cortex to the medulla oblongata, and these are called as cortico-medulla oblongata tracts. No, we don't call usually by that name. The other synonym for the medulla is bulb. Okay, so we call the cortico-bulbar tracts rather than cortico-medulla tracts. We call this is a cortico-bulbar. Bulb is a synonym for the medulla oblongata. Okay, so these are the cortico-medullar tracts, cortico-pontine tracts, or cortico-mesencephalic tracts. Okay, and together these are called as a corticonuclear tracts. Okay, right. After understanding these fibers connected from the cerebrum to the cortex, cerebrum to the brainstem, and cerebrum to the spinal cord, we will discuss about the major descending tract. I will repeat once again, I am not discussing in detail about the descending tracts all of together, only related with the pons, right? Okay, one of the major descending from the cortex to spinal cord is the corticospinal tract. So we are discussing about the part of corticospinal tracts and related with the pons, right? This is the midbrain, and this is the pons, and this is a medulla oblongata. Below there is a spinal cord, right? So I want to ask these questions to you. What is this? Okay, and we know that the substantia nigra is there. Okay, this is a substantia nigra, cerebral aqueduct. It's a part of the brainstem, part of the midbrain. Behind this is a tectum, this is a tegmentum, and it is called as crus cerebri. It is called as crus cerebri. I will call it. In the whole portion, what is there here? The three-dimensional external, due to presence of the crus cerebri. What is crus cerebri? Crus means leg. Okay, putting a leg inside a pant. Okay. We are putting a leg inside the pant. Leg is the crus cerebri. Leg with the pant is called as a cerebral peduncle. Remember this one. Okay, we are speaking about this sense. If there is a pant, if I put my leg in the pant, okay, and we have two components here. The one is a leg and leg with a pant. So leg portion is called as a crus cerebri. Leg with pant is called as a cerebral peduncle. From external what we speak, we will say that it is a cerebral peduncle. But if you remove the pant and if you see the leg, then that portion is there inside, that is a crus cerebri. And what this crus cerebri contains? Okay, this crus cerebri contains the descending fibers. Okay, right. If I take the cross section of, for example, this is a one portion of the crus cerebri, and if I make it in a 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 sections, okay, 5 sections in them, leave the first and the fifth part, the middle to fifth portion is there. This much portion is related with the corticospinal tracts. Okay, the middle 3/5 portion of this crus cerebri contains the fibers of corticospinal tract. For example, this much portion which contain corticospinal tracts. So which present inside of this cerebral peduncle and coming towards the pons, right? And you know, some of the points I discussed about the pontocerebellar or cerebropontocerebellar pathways. Once again, I want to clarify that portion here. This is the base part of the pons, and we have lot of pontine nuclei which are scattered in the nature. They are scattered in nature. In the side view, if you see the pons in anterior side, it contains lot of pontine nuclei. Behind there is a pons. From everywhere from the cerebral cortex, these corticopontine fibers are going to innervate here and here, right? They are the corticonuclear fibers. Here the nucleus is a pontine nucleus, so called as a corticopontine fibers. And from here there are fibers which are running towards the cerebellum, and they are called the pontocerebellar fibers. We also discussed this thing in a medulla part, right? Sorry, in the previous class or general class of the pons. And by the rule what I have discussed is about the descending tract has to pass through the basilar part. Okay, this is the general rule in a CNS. Here what we have, the fibers which are going on either side, crossing over here. Due to these cross fibers of the pontocerebellar and the discrete arrangement of this pontine nuclei, the area will become lot of traffic jam is there. There are a lot of traffic obstruction to pass these fibers. What is this? The corticospinal tracts. So what happened? The fibers, as they are collectively, very condensely coming towards the pons, they get distracted here. For example, I am showing here, they get distracted. Okay, they get distracted. The fibers are coming here due to the traffic jam. They will pass here and come, and they are going to come like this. Okay, by right. Okay, like this. The fibers are going to come like this. They will spread out and come in between the pontine nuclei, in between them, and they come. And again, as it comes inside the medulla oblongata, they will get condensed. Again, they will condense and run downwards the corticospinal tracts. See, the corticospinal tracts in the midbrain and in the medulla oblongata, they are in a concentrated form, but they are not much concentrated in pons because presence of lot of traffic obstructions for the condensation. Why I am giving much importance to this one? It has a clinical importance. 1 centimeter of a lesion, if it is there in the cerebral, the crus cerebri, the chances of obstruction of almost all the down descending tracts are going to get obstructed and whole body paralysis may happen. If it is 1 centimeter of the same lesion, if present in the pons, in the basis of the basal part of the pons, that much effect will not be there on the affected portion of the paralysis. Paralysis will be there, not paralysis. Okay, that's why the importance. I'm speaking lot about this arrangement. Understood about the designing. The rest of the story, you know that the motor decussation will take place and they run downwards as a lateral and anterior corticospinal tract, right, which are going to give the supply for the skeletal muscles of body for the fine movement. This is a one major descending tract in the brain stem which crosses through. I am speaking only about the pons, related with the pons descending tract. There are many others. So two things which I did not discuss yet about the minor tracts. They are not major tracts. They are the first order neurons. So we should not. The upper motor neurons which are located in the midbrain, which is going to the spinal cord, they have to cross through the pons. So such nuclei and their tracts we are going to discuss about it now. Okay. Now this is about the midbrain and the pons. In the midbrain, there are two such structures are there. In the midbrain, there are two such structures are there. Their fibers which are going to the spinal cord, which come through the pons. What are those? In the lateral section, it is better understood here. See, this is the midbrain, this is the pons, and this is the medulla oblongata, isn't it? So we know that in the back side of this midbrain, in the tectum part, there are two elevations are there. This is the superior colliculus and these are the inferior colliculus. Here in the midbrain, it has a two superior colliculus on either side and two inferior colliculus on either side. These two structures we need to understand. The superior colliculus is present in the tectum part of the midbrain, right in the posterior aspect. We know this. This is the tectum, this tegmentum, and the base part of the midbrain, right? So this is the tectum part, where from the superior colliculus to the spinal cord, the fibers are running downwards, and these are called as a tectospinal tract. These are going to form tectospinal tracts, right? Tectospinal tracts, which are related with the spino-visual reflex. Okay, something I told you, something the main. If you are walking on the road and suddenly some vehicle come in front of you and suddenly will take back you will change your position, your body position will be changed, and to that the change of position from the visual cortex will come to the superior colliculus here, and from the spinal cord and the skeletal muscles related to that, and that the position will change in such a way that you will protect yourself from that object. Okay, that reflex is called as a spino-visual reflex. Okay, that reflex is related with the superior colliculus. Okay, this is inferior tract. So inferior colliculus is related with about arcuate nuclei. Okay, so already we know that at the time of formation of the pontine nuclei, okay, so almost all nuclei are going to form in the developmentally here, okay. And one thing I will draw, and we know that the corticospinal tracts are going to run here, right? They are going to run here, okay. And here and all there are the corticospinal tracts are there, and they are going to run downwards, right? The pontine nuclei, at the formation of the pontine nuclei, at that time some of the developmental pontine nuclei will displace and come in front of the medulla oblongata, right? If you take the cross section of medulla oblongata here, okay, this is olive, pyramid, and we have the pyramidal tracts here, right? We have pyramidal tracts here, okay. So the displaced pontine nuclei in the medulla oblongata will come in front of the corticospinal tract, and they are get arranged here, okay, in front of the corticospinal tract. Since they arrange in a cross section, their arrangement look like a semilunar shape. In an arc shape, they are called as the arcuate nucleus. Okay, but they are functionally related with the pontine nuclei. What they will do? They are going to cross the parts and will go to the cerebellum, isn't it? And they will choose the middle cerebellar peduncle to cross. So what they will do? They are also going to cross and come functionally. The pontine nuclei function and the arcuate functions are same, and they are already come to the cerebellum also, but through the inferior cerebellar peduncles. Okay, inferior cerebellar peduncles. You know that what is okay? I think this one, the division of this fourth ventricle, upper half and the lower half by the striae medullaris. You know that. At that time, I am going to discuss about that. Striae medullaris is the fibers of these arcuatocerebellar fibers. Okay, they are the formation of arcuatocerebellar fibers which forms the stria medullaris or fourth ventricle. Fourth ventricle rhomboid shape is there. Here we will draw some stria medullaris through which the fourth ventricle is divided into upper and the lower half. The stria medullaris is made up of the white fibers carried on the arcuatocerebellar tracts. Back connections of the pons to, okay, this is the pons. Right, this is a middle cerebellar peduncle, and this is the base part of the cerebellar, the base part of the pons, and here is a fourth ventricle, and here there is a cerebellum. Okay, so here the pontine nuclei are there. These pontine nuclei, in crossing over from the other side, they are going to enter from the right side to left side, from left side to right side, right? Right. These are the back connections. Okay, these are the back connections of the pons, right? This much is. And front connections are there, which we are going to discuss tomorrow about the front anterolateral connections with many nuclei in that cranial nuclei and their extension to form the fifth motor and sensory, sixth, seventh and eighth cranial nerve nuclei. Right? Done.